I'm joined on the Crispin Flintoff show by Iris Hefets again. How are you doing?
Yeah, thank you. I'm well as far as one can be well these days.
There needs to be this unity between different countries who are opposing the genocide. We need to keep in sync about what's going on. And Germany is an issue for all of us because of the stance they're taking on Israel. And one issue that's come up is the possibility of the former German foreign minister, Annalena Baerbock, becoming the United Nations General Assembly president. Now, there's a petition going on at the moment that's open to people from not just Germany but from other countries, including the United Kingdom. This is it here. So, I mean, if people can sign that petition, it's on Change UK. I'll put the link in with it so people can sign it. But just so people know more about why we should stop Annalena Baerbock becoming the next UNGA president, I've got this clip here of her speaking, and maybe if you could speak after about more on what she's been saying.
Die Selbstverteidigung bedeutet natürlich, dass man Terroristen nicht nur angreift, sondern zerstört. Deswegen habe ich so klar und deutlich gemacht, wenn Hamas-Terroristen sich hinter Menschen, hinter Schulen verschanzen, dann bekommen wir in ganz schwierige Themenbereiche rein, aber wir ducken uns davor nicht weg. Deswegen habe ich vor den Vereinten Nationen deutlich gemacht, dann können auch zivile Orte ihren Schutzstatus verlieren, weil Terroristen das missbrauchen. Dazu steht Deutschland und das bedeutet für uns Sicherheit Israels.
I mean, the translation, it's shocking what she's saying. It sounds like she's almost an Israeli rather than someone from a different country that's allied with the United Nations and upholds international law. What else has she been doing? What can you tell us about her?
Well, Annalena Baerbock, I mean, she was until now, because the Green Party in which she was is not going to be probably in the coalition now in Germany. She was the foreign minister of Germany, and she said always that she's for a feministic policy as a foreign minister. But she was lying in a systematic way when it came to Israel. And also, you know, very problematic, talking with double standards as for what Israel is doing in Palestine and what, for example, the Russians are doing in the Ukraine. So, for example, she told Putin that he cannot use starving the population as a weapon in his war. How can he do that? Yeah. And this is something that she said as a foreign minister of Germany. Germany was besieged Leningrad for a very long time during the Second World War and causing the death of 3 million people. She didn't even mention that, you know, we as German, we know what it means, we regret it, this is not something that you can do. But then when Israel is doing that, she's saying nothing about it. On top of it, every time she was asked as for her policy to Israel, she lied, and on a conscious way. So, for example, she said that she saw a video. She was in Israel in visit, and she saw a video where Hamas people are raping Israeli Jewish women. Now, there is no such a video. There is no one proof that until now that one of us or, you know, all the experts saw or heard of. We know only about the report of the UN about the systematic sexual harassment, assaults, and rape that Israelis are doing to Palestinian men and women. When she was asked where did she see that, she had no answer for that. Then every time she was asked also about her policy as for Israel, she immediately she has a system. She's talking then about Israeli women. And she's using, she said, I talked with an Israeli woman who has children. I also have children. This is awful, whatever, putting them in focus, erasing Palestinian totally. And then that was the clip that you showed was the peak, because actually she's using Israeli propaganda, even if it was true. And we know it's not true. We know that physicians that were in Gaza talked about their, what testimonies, what they saw in the hospitals or in schools. We're talking about other people that were there. They never saw any, armed person. And Israel said that, Hamas people are there in hospitals, and it was also in radiology where you are not even, it's not even possible to have there metals because it disturbs the action of the CT scans and so on, or MRI. So she's now saying, using this propaganda and saying actually something that actually erases the international law. This is the meaning of that, in a tone that actually for me as a Jew, it also reminds of the Posen talk. There was a talk by Himmler, who talked with the Nazi troops, and he said, we have to do it. It's very hard, but we have to suffer for that because it's so important. And this is actually what she's also saying. She's saying the kind of major aim to defend Israel and to take care of the security of Israel, which is also nonsense because it's not even contributing to the security of Israel. But she's saying, even if we have to sacrifice the law for that, we will do that, because in that case, the law does not exist. And this is very dangerous. And as a person who's saying the international law is not, valid, now to be the head of the General Assembly of the UN, it's mind-blowing, of course, but I mean, we are already 18 months of this. Every time it's more and more mind-blowing, but it's impossible.
This is clearly the wrong candidate for the United Nations. I mean, could she not do something else? Why doesn't she become an Israeli agent or something like that? Wouldn't it be better her using her time there?
Well, she's already doing that, maybe undercover. I don't know, but she is. That's now her problem, actually, because now after Friedrich Merz, the head of the Christian Democratic Party, was elected. And they got the majority, and probably he's going to be the next chancellor of Germany. The first thing he said after he was elected is that he's going to invite Benjamin Netanyahu to Germany. And then suddenly Annalena Baerbock said, well, this is impossible for Germany because it's against the international law and we have to respect it. And that was after her name was mentioned as someone who's going to get this job. So she's a very opportunistic person. She will say whatever needed to be in any role. And this is the thing, when she has to obey to the USA rules, she's doing that. And it's not only about the politics of Israel, it's also about the USA politics as for Russia, for example, because, the Green Party, who went to the election saying we have to take care of the climate change and whatever. And then the Ukraine war started and Germany stopped buying gasoline from Russia, and now importing gasoline from Qatar, Emirates, whatever. It makes no sense, for more money. That causes also an economical crisis. But she's very conform, and she will do whatever needed in order to do this job or that job. In that sense, she can be actually a double agent. She's not a good agent.